Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to deep dive in C Sharp fundamentals with Visual Studio 2022, especially focusing on variables and data type. This tutorial is designed for automation test engineers who wanted to build a strong foundation in C Sharp before learning Playwright or Selenium WebDriver. Whether you're completely new to C Sharp or transitioning from manual testing to automation, this video will give you everything you need to get started. By the end of this tutorial, you'll understand how to work with variables, different data types, and how to structure your code properly. All essential skill for writing robust automation test script will be provided. Before we jump into code, let me quickly explain why C Sharp is an excellent choice for automation testing. C Sharp is a modern, object oriented, and type safe programming language developed by Microsoft. It's one of the most popular languages for automation testing, and here's why. Strongly typed language. C Sharp is a strongly typed language, which means you must declare the type of each variable before using it. This helps catch error at compile time rather than runtime, making your automation script more reliable. Integration with Visual Studio. Visual Studio 2022 is most powerful IDE that provides excellent debugging tools, intelligence for code compilation, and seamless integration with test frameworks like NUnit, XUnit, and MS Test. Selenium and Playwright support. Both Selenium WebDrivers and Playwright have excellent C Sharp bindings, allowing you to write clean, maintainable automation code. Rich ecosystem. C Sharp has extensive libraries and frameworks that support various aspects of automation testing, from API testing to UI automation. Growing demand. Many organizations using C Sharp for their automation framework, especially in Microsoft ecosystem. Having C Sharp skill are significantly boost your career prospects as an automation engineer. Now that we understand why C Sharp is valuable, let's start our development environment. So, what we will cover in this skills: setting up Visual Studio, variable declaration in C Sharp, data type overview, variable initializing and implicit typing. Open Visual Studio 2022. In this, create a new project, and here select C Sharp, console, and Windows. So select the first application, click next. Here write down the project name, keep the solution in the same, and click next. So this will create a project. Here you can select anything which is 8 or above. I have 9, so I'm selecting 9 right now, and create. So this will configure your console application. This is called a top level statement, a feature that simplifies console application by removing the boilerplate code behind the scene. The compiler generates the full program class for you. Before we move forward, let's run the simple program to make sure everything works. Click the green start button or press F5 at the top of the Visual Studio. You see a console window appears with the text Hello World displayed. Perfect. Now we have a working C Sharp console application. Let's start learning about variables and data types. What are variables? Think of variables as containers to store data values. When you write test cases, you will constantly use variables to store elements, test data, locators, expected result, actual result, URLs, and a lot of things. In C Sharp, variables must be declared in a specific type. Because C Sharp is a strongly typed language. This is different from languages like Python or JavaScript, where you don't need to specify the type explicitly. Variable declaration syntax is typically of data type, variable name equal to values. Variable declaration syntax. So it looks like data type, variable name, and value. So this is how a syntax of declaring a variable looks like. Let me show you some examples. I'll modify program.cs file. So uh, let me copy it and see. Okay. So int age 25. We declare an integer variable named age, assign it the value of 25. We declared a string variable named test name and given it the value of login test. We declared boolean is test passed and assigned it the value of true. We declared double and we declared double as response time and assign it the value of 2.45. So if we run this, we will get all the values. But in order to actually see what is going on, we need to add console dot read line. What this will do is this will wait for our input so that we can actually understand what are the variable looks like. Okay, so this is how it is looking. So we can declare a variable without immediately assigning it a value. So for example, I can assign int number of test. This is I have declared a variable, but I will assign the value on a next line. Number of test equal to 10. This is correct, but you cannot use an variable without assigning it a value. So for example, if I comment this line and if I want to use it, this will give an error because C# will not allow you to use the variable if it's not declared. Multiple variable declaration. So you can declare multiple variables of same type in one line. For example, I can put int num1 equal to 10, num2 equal to 20, num3 equal to 30. And we can write something like num1 num2 3, and it will print. So this is correct. Let me first comment this. So this is how we can print multiple variables in one line. Now modifying variable values. So we can modify the variable values once we have assigned it. Like for example, int num1 is assigned. So now I can num1 equal to 200. So I can modify it like this way, and now it will print num1 value as 200. So before it would have printed num1 as 100, but now it will print num1 as 200. Okay, so if we run this, okay, so first we have num1 as 10, but now we have reassigned it to 200. So now the value is 200. Now let's explore the different data types available in C#. Understanding this is essential because Choosing the right data type affects memory usage, performance, and what operations you can perform. So let's start with numeric data types. So there are different types of numeric data types available in C Sharp: byte, short, int, long. So these are basic integer types. So what is byte? So for example, byte can take only 0 to 255, which is 8 byte. So I'll make you what is 8 byte is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, to this one. So these are the 8 bytes which it can take. Okay. Now similarly 16 bytes is 000 plus 2111. This is 16 byte. And the common int type which we all use is something like this. Okay, so this is the maximum length it can store. And similarly for long, it will store up to 64 bits. But we usually most commonly use int only. Long is not used that much. Okay, very long numbers if we have, then only we use long numbers. Now have you if you have noticed, then that comes float point types. So float pointers are 6 to 7 decimal digits, which is 32 bits. Okay, and here double, which is 16 15 to 17 decimal digits after point. Okay, and similarly for decimal it is 28 to 29 decimal digits. So this is the digits it can store after point. So where are this required? Okay, so if you have noticed that f and m are used for digits and decimal. Why? Float and decimal. Why? Because if we don't provide f or m, then it will automatically convert it to double. The compiler will always store it as a double only, because to save storage. When the when to use which in automation testing. Okay, so int is the most common for count, integer, index. For double, for measurements, response time, percentage. Decimal, when you need to precise decimal calculations like financial data, or in our test scenarios. So if you have financial data, then only use decimals. Okay, so these are the basic data types in integers. So now let's discuss about character and string types. So these are the two different types of characters. So if you declare anything like say HAR, character A, and string. So these are the two characters and string. So for characters, you should use a single quotes, and for string, whatever is the value between two double quotes, it will implicitly think it as a string. Okay. Now Boolean type. Mm, Boolean type. So Boolean type, it's as it's declared, it should be true and false. Okay. Now the most important thing, which is kind of the latest one, also, which is the var key and implicit type variables. Okay. So what does it means? If a var implicit int is equal to 100, so it will infer as an int. So this is a string, and this is boolean. So if you want to verify whether it has provided the proper value or not, so let's take a double also. Okay, so int type, and also we want to verify what is the type. So type equal to get the type, we need to use get type method. Test id implicit int dot get type. So this will give us type. Okay, let's copy paste. Okay, so same thing for integer string, for boolean, and for double. Okay, so this should be string, this should be boolean, and this should be double. Okay, so same things we have to use here also. String, boolean, and double. So what it will do is whenever you say 100, it will implicitly convert it into variable. Okay, so let's run it once. Okay, so we need to put line here, and we'll comment out everything above here, above this, so that we don't have to wait for other stuffs. Okay, run it. See, its type is 32 int. This type is string, this is boolean, and this is double. So it has converted it and automatically taken as the implicit conversion types. Var keyword. The variable must be initialized when declared. So whenever you write where or anything, so for example, if I say var int number, and I cannot do this. This cannot be done. Even if I declare here, it will give an issue, because whenever you write var, you have to give it value. After that, you can modify the values, but now it is an integer. Now you cannot give string here. It will again give an issue because it has converted this variable into an int. So this is also not possible in variable var keyword. Okay, so because this is determined at compile time, it is not determined at runtime. That's why it will give an error. Okay. Uh, Second thing is use var when the type is obvious from the right side of the assignment. Okay, so you should not use var when it is coming from a function or coming from a different value. So if you have something like some method which is like get value verified, and if it is returning something, you should not use it, because this you cannot, by reading it you cannot understand whether it will give us a string, it will give it as a number or whatever. So this should be avoided. It should not be done. Okay, yeah, that's it for this time. See you all in next. Please do subscribe, and if you like this video, give us a like.